Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the response that we received for the first episode in this series, Making Your Enterprise Financially Aware. As people have been responding and sharing with us regarding how their understanding of the financials by their team members has helped them manage their working capital quite effectively. We have also been receiving a lot of concerns from different promoters and business owners regarding the challenges that they are facing in helping their team understand what are the skills that they need to cope up with the new normal. They believe that a lot of people who are right now used to going and meeting the client, working from office location, just get into that particular mode and drive the things from there, are finding it very difficult to have a same kind of performance when they are working from home. We have also seen that people, particularly from the purchase side, are pretty much used to calling people and then making those negotiation discussions just over the table. But even right now, with the challenge for people to come out to the office and for their sales team to go and reach out to the different locations, these conversations have been not progressing the way they are expecting them to progress. In this particular scenario, it is very important for an organization to systematically understand what are the skill levels of their own employees, where do they stand today, what are the skills that they would need in the new normal, and how do they make a journey from the existing level to the skill levels that they would need in future to be to continue to be a successful organization. To specifically discuss these aspects, I would first request Anuradha Madam to please share what is the situation that people are right now going through. How do we look at understanding their situation? How does any particular promoter or a business owner assesses himself? How does he go about assessing his team? And subsequently, how do they look at moving towards a new normal?
Thank you so much, Charu. Thank you everyone for viewing this. So right now we are just talking about the skills that are to be, developed. So there are many skills which are already there in us, which we actually learn over the years, and we are quite pro in it. But post-COVID era, there has been a bit of challenge in understanding what skills are we having right now, and how can we enhance the skills, or whether are there any new skills that can be learned. So there are, if we keep on listing, there are hundreds and hundreds of skills that we can talk about. But first, I really would like to, mention about the emotional state of the business owners. When I talk in a very layman language as a psychologist, as a behavioral coach, then I surely would say that is choosing the thoughts. कैसे हम लोग सोचते हैं, the actions that we would be taking, and what am I feeling right now plays a very, very important role. So how we experience the emotion is something very different. And obviously, once I start experiencing it, how my body is reacting to it. And third, but not the least, is how we behave in response to it. All three of them actually has, a lot of impact on all the things that we do. So out of the n number of skills, the first thing I really would like to mention about is emotional resilience. So that is a skill which can be learned, which is there in us, but we don't identify it until unless it is required. Until unless we are put in a very stressful situation, we are not aware of that, skill. That can be learned in different ways. So if you really want to develop that skill, there are 3 stages of doing it, even for self and for our teammates as well, for your employees as well. The first thing is essentials. So when we talk about essentials, there are the essential things that we really need to develop about ourselves. First is the self-worth. How you feel about yourself? Are you feeling confident? Are you confident that you can take your business forward? Are you confident that everything is going to be all right? So that is a skill you really need to develop on. And that actually involves the inner dialogue that you have, what you talk about yourself. What are you talking about yourself? Whether you're thinking positive about yourself, or you're saying ki, nothing can be done. It's already, over. There's nothing much change that I can bring it right now. But you should remember that you were the first person who started the company, or you were the descendant of a person who actually started the company. So you can never give up on it. So more of optimistic thinking will surely help you. Second is outward confidence. Once you start talking positive about yourself inside, you're going to feel super confident, and that is what is going to take you forward. Second is self-control. Once you're confident about things, how you respond to everyday scenario, because this COVID has brought in different challenges every day. What are the challenges? It might be regarding your, workplace. It might be regarding your workforce or some personal commitments that you had and the relationships that you had. I might just go on and on and on about it. But the thing is, it's about you and how you have that control of how to respond to the situation. You can respond in a very positive way by saying ki everything will be all right. There is some way out. I'm surely going to look at it. Or, you can respond by saying, okay, now everything is over. I cannot do anything about it. So choice is yours. And the third is mood. It is like, how do you actually be positive and be very active in engaging your employees and then bringing them to a certain emotional state wherein they feel confident, they are, giving whatever they have, they are feeling quite safe with you, and how comfortable are you making in that area? And it all starts with you. So that is where your mood and your approach is very, very important. Then comes the other three skills in the essentials. Those are the empathy. That is when we are thinking about the whole workforce. It might be 2 employees in your company, 10 employees, 100 employees, or 1,000 employees. Are you empathetic towards them? If you are not able to reach to them in person, do you have a team which is reaching to them every time and then asking, are you all right? Is there anything that the company can do for you? That empathy that you show, and when you understand them, their condition, that is going to be a boon for your, that's going to be a very good boon for your company. Next is understanding your, their condition, not forcing them to come to the office every day. Maybe, they're in a condition wherein they have the elders at home, and you might give them an option of sitting at home and then doing their work. But making sure that their productivity is not reducing, neither their performance. Third thing is caring. If they mention about any family member of theirs who says ki, I'm no, one of my family member is not feeling well, just giving them a courtesy call will actually make them feel very comfortable. Once this part is done, we go to the second place, wherein the skills. In the skills, we are talking about building personal relationships with others, wherein we are talking about, whether you're being mindful. Are you really thinking about today? What are the things that you really need to do today? Or you're worried about the past 7 months, for example, or worried about the future of where am I going to go? Right? Second thing is, are you aware of all the situations that are happening in your company right now? Are you aware of the situations, the changing situations outside? Are you aware of all the collaborations that are happening outside? Are you aware of the, different relationship, the changing in the relationships that are happening right now, both positive and negative? Once you are aware of your relationship, your strategy, and your workforce, that is what is going to reflect a lot of things. Third comes your self-care. Are you aware of the resources that you're having? Resources doesn't always mean they are materialistic. Resources always, it might also mean people. People whom you might be knowing earlier, even they become a resource at times. Positive relationships. Are you maintaining positive relationship with all your customers? Did you give them a call and then say, hi, how are you? Did you call one of your vendor and say, hope everything is all right with you? Even that builds a very positive relationship between you and the vendor or you and the customer. They will never leave you. Next comes the whole thing. Now, whatever I'm talking about, it should have a purpose. So you must be having a vision for your company, right? Is this vision still the same? Are you still aligned to the same vision? Or is there anything that you really need to do so that, it needs some sort of twitch in it, which will actually help you in having a broader horizon. Okay. Then finally, it is the outcome. So when you're doing so many things, outcome is bound to be positive. So once you have the positive approach, positive thinking, and a positive, optimistic approach towards everything and anything that you're doing, it is going to bring out a very, very fruitful outcome for you. So whatever things right now, all these things can be practiced and then they can be learned. So the unlearning of whatever behavior you had earlier, you just have to be aware. You just have to think about ki, okay, this is not working for me. There's nothing wrong in learning a new skill. So that is what it is, Charu. So that's the message for the owners from my side.
Okay. Amazing insights. Few of the practical things that we are looking at it may help the larger setups together. There was a small shop nearby who was primarily serving the sandwiches and the pani puri shop typically which used to work, and he had established himself pretty well in last 3 years time. With the COVID, all of a sudden, with the office that he had, the shop that he had bought, all of a sudden he was into a huge debt, not wondering as to where the next month's EMI is going to come from. Although there was a 6 months of gap in between, but the enterprising guy actually started selling vegetables. Different game, something he was not used to doing it, but he moved himself and started working on that bit. There was another restaurant which had to be closed for 4 months time. The workers who were staying in that particular shop actually convinced the owner to let them use that space for storing some vegetables and started selling some vegetables. They started the delivery service on their own. So the promoter who was actually made to pay the rent for that, his team just simply ensured that his rent is taken care of. We are seeing a lot of small practical examples that are happening at multiple places around us. As a big enterprises and as a big companies, are we really that nimble? Are we really that simple to mold ourselves? A lot of time what we have been observing is that over a period of time, the existing set of skills bring in certain rigidity because of the way you have tested success around those engagements. You would have gone and met a lot of clients, those particular interactions or your ability to go and influence a client will typically make these people believe that I just need to go and meet that particular gentleman and I know I can convince him. But that's not going to happen now. The gentleman, the purchase guy may not be really coming to the office. He wants to connect with you on a net. How would you convince yourself? How would you improve your own skills to ensure that you can go and you are able to talk to the gentleman effectively, even on a video conferencing part, and still go and work properly and get those deals from them? How do you go and explain your situation critically to the finance team of your clients? How do you go and work with your vendors to tell them that you probably need a bit more of a payment period to ensure that your working capital cycle is taken care of? These are small things that we need to learn individually as a business owners, as well as the people at the top management also need to start working with their teams in a different way. Quite a few other people are used to fire and stay, the carrot and stick approach, wherein they would go and try and incentivize their team, and if it is not going right, then they will go and fire it. That particular kind of approach is not going to work now. They need to have a very different approach to managing the team. How are they going to do that? One of the very important things that people need to look at right now is to understand what are their existing skill levels and what are the skills that they need to go and acquire. But if you could please throw a light on how people can go about understanding their own skill set, right, the existing skill set. How can a company go and understand what are the skill set that they would need for the team in the days to come, and how this gap can be bridged?
Absolutely, Shalu. So all the skills that I've been mentioning till now are something, as I mentioned, they can be learned, right? So if really you really would like to know about the values of your company, if you still have not known about it, or if you're looking for the alignment of the employee value with the company values, because that also plays a very important role. When we are talking about values, those are something which are very, very near and dear to our heart. And then we really would like to follow them. And once our employees are aligned to that values and to that vision, the productivity of the employee does improve a lot. And then he is more focused. He is more aware of what he is actually adding value to the company. So that is why even that can be assessed. Second thing is skills. Very simple example I really would like to quote here is I had few clients from one of the biggest education online education campaign people. So they really were having a very, I mean, a difficult situation. And specifically salespeople, those were young guys who just got their job 9-10 months back after they completed their graduation. And then they said, ma'am, it's becoming very difficult. We really want to give up. When I asked them why, then they said, see, we are used to, getting ready, going out, talking to people, and then we are trained to sit in a certain position. What is the language that we need to use? So these were the things we already learned. And now when it is coming to the online thing, it is very difficult for us because half of the customers do not even open their videos. It is very difficult for us to assess them. So simple. This is a very simple example of how to actually get used to this communication skill online. That also plays a very vital role because now everything, if it goes digital, this person has to be in a state wherein he is able to convince the customer even online. So even that part of the training, the skill training, can be a major part in the in the organization. So next is, because everything being online, the motivation levels of the employees is something which is very difficult to assess. And as we understand, the motivation levels are quite low because of still there is some sort of uncertainty and there is some sort of difficulty in going to the office, accessing, having an access to the office environment and everything. So even that part of it can be assessed. And last but not the least, it can be, all these skills can be assessed and corrective actions can be taken, but the assessment is something, a mirror, which actually is kept in front of the management, which will give them a better idea of what is a mind state of the employees and what are the actions that they need to take.
On this positive note, let's wish all the business entrepreneurs and the top management good luck to positively enforce these changes in their companies. We would advise them to have a look at the skill levels within the organization, where they are today, what are the skill levels that they would need to face the challenges that are expected in next 6 to 12 months, and then make a systematic plan to ensure that their people move from the existing skill level to the desired skill levels in a gradual way without disturbing their existing operations. If you need any support in understanding what are the skill levels that you have today and how you can go about systematically improving those to meet the requirements of the new normal, please feel free to reach us on the email IDs shared here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.